venture to say most often women's shoes are more uncomfortable than men's. But if they look good.
Good, how are you?
Aren't you excited about Sarita's here? Yeah. I am too. So,
You'll be on your first.
So my biggest concern, and I've been double checking, but it is still my concern, is that I gave everyone the right portions. I'm not concerned that they didn't do what they need to do, but I gave I'm like, please just tell me that I did not.
Well,
But I'm pretty sure
I'm sure you're fine, but
I
mean, this is
I'll
what
worry
I gave,
about it until we're done reading.
Which
Right, so I
is
think I gave it all the right.
1 through 8, 9 through
Yeah.
12. I mean, before I give these out,
And I don't think I ever changed
I
the
go
order
through
of the
same,
readers.
like,
I'm pretty sure the only thing I changed at any point was the order of the
oh
aliyot.
yeah, you're fine.
So I'm pretty sure it will be good.
Great.
What was confusing me, because all my family is used to Chabad, Baron-Hirsch.
Is the
So my
triennial.
dad started to say, so wait, am I doing
Right.
Shviyah because it says Shviyah?
Right, exactly.
I said, Dad, please, you're confusing me. Just ignore whatever it says and
do
just
the
go with
verses
those
that I tell you.
verses.
Yeah, exactly.
Said, I know you don't get it. I know that you don't
It's
understand
different.
why we do triennials. Just
Follow the instructions. AB said he'd never met your dad, which I thought was
I can't imagine at some point.
I'm gonna go use the bathroom one more time. Again? Just, I get
Shocker.
Will you
I
just
am.
make sure, like, when our parents and stuff come in, I can be
I
sitting
told them
here?
we're all sitting over here.
Other people aren't going to see.
Okay. We'll be fine.
hi, Jeremy.
How are you? Good job.
Good Shabbos.
Is
Thank
that
you
mine?
again for everything.
Sure.
Isn't this exciting? Gio's got this side, but we did have to make a couple more last minute for various reasons.
But nothing that affects you.
No.
Okay.
It's just aliyot and
Rabbi, real quick. When do I need a talisan?
for an aliyot. That's it.
Okay, so when I go up from my speech, I don't.
When I do.
Okay, all right. I don't do that. I feel like you're the one that should be running to the bathroom, not me.
Would you like this Kleenex box near you? Okay. Goodness, Sylvie.
I'm gonna grab a couple of. People opening the ark don't need a Thomas, right? If they're opening. I mean, she can army section where she has to, but. So we'll have up there. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, figure it out.
You need need to like cool it with the candy? Okay.
It looks fine. Shabbat Shalom, Maya. Mazel tov. That's the old days.
Watch out here.
Looking at the candy.
We'll have one after shul, okay, bud?
Looking sharp, Woody. I like it.
We'll have one after shul.
They're just getting
Right?
ready.
No, we'll have one after shul.
Oh, there are.
Do you want to ask Alan what you asked me?
Alan, when we do hunt after we read the Torah, you're a setter.
I mean,
Every shul, why there should just be a standard. I'm sure you'll have to ask. And I never pay enough attention. When we eat, I always think to myself, I have a loss. It's my absent-mindedness.
There can't be too many things that didn't have a sex, so this is not to worry.
We made Stephanie was joking, I won't say it. We made it here in the same band that we took her to her first day of school. That band has made it. I'm hoping to get a couple more years out of it at least too. That's the crazy.
You're going to lead from there, Alan, yeah? From here?
I was.
Oh, wait, perfect.
I could.
No, it doesn't matter. I just didn't know if you were going to stand there because we're going to do that. It doesn't take
They're not. And remember, you're not doing the first morning blessings. It's all good. You know what everyone knows, don't worry. And when they see you, go to get the candy. Hang on a second. Got it?
Okay.
Got your spot? Great.
So if you put it in a little higher, sometimes it works. Right, the other thing
Yes, you guys will figure it out.
So,
should I just keep it with me there? Maybe.
Separate of each other. I said it was just legal. We'll do that too. If anything, I'll just say no. But so we'll see. I said I can't mess with it. Last week I said I'm back.
I'm gonna move. I'm doing the preliminary, and then I'll move all this. Okay.
Thank you.
After I finish, I'll call you up.
Nice.
Okay.
Are we like acknowledging the fact that you're here? Or
I'm gonna say something at the end. Like after you guys speak, I'm just gonna like say a
Oh, so not before or anything like that?
I mean, people will see me.
Yes,
But I want the whole thing to just happen as it happens, and then afterwards, like, I'm not gonna pretend like it's not been here, you know? So I'll just say something briefly.
Oh, it's so great that you're here. I'm so glad. Thank you. Alan, thank you for just rolling with the punches. I mean, now it's changing again because the rabbi's here. I mean, like, you're just,
I'm so thrilled.
you are a treasure.
Thank
We're so
you.
lucky.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm thrilled too that the rabbi.
The number of emails and texts this week has been.
Sure.
Also, because selfishly, I wanted to see how good she's gonna do. What? I said selfishly, I wanted the rabbi. I was like, man, I wanted to see how good you're gonna do. How well you're gonna do. You're gonna be great. You're gonna be great. So I saw Sadie, but where's everybody else?
You guys are up there. It's definitely wants everyone to second row over there. Second row. Second. What? Okay.
Something. Yes, exactly. Thank you. You too. As well.
to start right on time.
No?
I think it's good. I have 9:14.
I'm gonna go my whole side.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We begin the preliminary service, the Pazukah de Zimra, together on page 103, and we rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sach v'ivina, l'achvim ben yom u'ben layla. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rakaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asali kol tzarki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael bigvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, anotein li'av koach. Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai. U'tanenu hayamu Cholchein chesed urachamim b'einecha v'mecha renu v'tigmaleinu chasadim tovim. Baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim li'amo Yisrael. We turn to page 112. Hayom Yom Shabbat Kodesh. V'hagid ki ashar Adonai tzuri v'lo havlas habo. We turn to page 120. Mizmor Shir Chanukat Habayit LeDavid. L'man Yizamer Chachav B'lo Yidam, Adonai Elohai Le'olam Odeka. Mourner's Kaddish on page 121. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra kirutei, ve'amlich machutei, v'chayichon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chal beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran b'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. We rise on page 122 for Baruch She'amar. Baruch She'amar v'hayolam. Yachid Chayomi Melch Meshubach Avarat Shema Gadol Baruch Atah Adonai Melch Milo Batish Bachot. You may be seated. We continue on page 136. Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yahalalucha Selah Ashrei Am Shekachalo Ashrei Am Shadonai Elohav LeDavid Tila LeDavid Amen. Tilat Adonai Yidaber Pi, Vivarech Kol Basar, Shem Kadsho Le'olam Va'ed, V'anachnu Nevarech Ya, Me'ata V'ad Olam, Hallelujah. We continue on page 141, the top of the page. Hallelujah, Hallel B'Kadsho. Halu b'tzitzalei shema, halu b'tzitzalei truah, kol an shemat aliyah, hallelujah, kol an shemat aliyah, hallelujah, Baruch Adonai le'olam amen v'amen, Baruch Adonai tziyon shema. Baruch Shem Kavod, Doli Olam V'Malech Avodo, Ekol Haaretz Amen V'Amen. We turn to page 142 and we rise. Vavarech David et Adonai Le'enei Kol HaKol, Vayomer David. Atahu Adonai Elohim asher b'charta v'Avram v'osei Torah kasdim v'samta shemo Avraham u'matzata et levava neman lefanecha v'charot imo abrid latei. Vayam b'kata livneihem, v'yavru b'toch hayam v'yabasha, v'yetfos nishlachta v'tzos kamo event, b'mayim azim. We're on page 143. Vayosha Adonai bayom hahu. Vayar Yisrael et Mitzrayim et Safat hayom yavashim. Et Adonai v'ya'aminu v'Adonai Moshe avdo. Oz yashir Moshe ubnei Yisrael et ashir hazeh. Kiladanoim l'chama shel bagoyim v'limoshim bahar tzion lishpot et arisav oito ladanoim l'chava yadanoim l'melech hakol haaretz bayom ahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shmo echad. You may be seated. We're on page 145. Nishmat kol chai tivarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. Ha'el b'tatzuma otuzecha, Agadol b'chvod shemecha, Agibor lanetzach v'nora b'noratecha, Amelech hayoshev, Al kisei ram v'nisa. That concludes the preliminary service. We welcome up Maya Weiser, who we are so proud to celebrate this morning as a bat mitzvah and who will lead us in the service. We begin with the Shacharit service on page 147.
Shochan ad marom v'kadosh shemo. Befi asarim titalal uvdivrei tzadikim titbarach uvilshon chasidim titramam uvkeref kedoshim titkadash uvmakalot rivevot amcha beit Yisrael. Ken chovat kol yetzurim lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu lehodot lehalel leshabeach lefaer leromem lehader levarech la'aleh ulkales al kol divrei shirot v'tishbechot David ben Yishai avdecha meshichecha.
We rise for Yishtabach on page 148.
Yishtabach shimcha la'ad malkeinu. Brachot ve'odot me'ata ve'ad olam Baruch atah Adonai el melech gadol batishbachot el ha'odot Adonai niflot habocher b'shirei zimra melech el chai ha'olamim. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba B'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei לחייכנו ותכל בית ישראל בעגלה ואמרו יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבח אתה ונעתה אמירן בעלמא ואמרו ברכו את אדוני המבורך Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated, and we're on page 150.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Yoter Or Uvarech HaOshech Oseh Shalom Uvarech Et HaKol HaKol Yoducha VeHaKol Yashabechucha VeHaKol Yomru En Kadosh Kadonai. אין קרקך אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה, ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא. אפס בלתך גואלנו לימות המשיח, ואין דומה לך משיענו לתחיית המתים.
We continue on page 151.
אל אדון על כל המעשים, ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה, גדלו וטובו מלא אלום. דעת תבונה סובבים אותו, המתגאה על חיות הקודש, ונהדר בכבוד על מרכבה. זכות ומשול לבני חיסו, חסד ורחמים לבני חרבותו. טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו, יצרם בדעת בבינה ובשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם, להיות מושלים בקרב תבל, מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נאה זיוון בכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים באמה רצון קונם, פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמו, צלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו. קרא לשמש ויזרח אור, רעב והתקין צורת לבנה, שבח נותנים לו, כל צבע מרום, תפארת וגדולה, צרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש.
Page 152.
לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים. תתברך מושיענו על שבח מעשה ידיך ועל מראה אור שעשית יפרוך הסלע.
153 at the top.
תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים. וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ובתורה, בשירה ובזמירה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומעריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל, המלך הגדול. וכולם מקבלים עליהם על מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפע ברורה ובנימה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה. קדוש, קדוש, אדוני צבאות,
מלך הארץ כבודו.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מנסים, לעומת רפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים.
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. לאל ברוך נמות איתנו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכחו לנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
We continue on page 154.
אהבה רבה
Avtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chem
גדול
Lagedol
אביתרה,
Malta Aleinu Avinu Malkeinu
בעבור אבותינו שבטחו
Becha Shabbat
בך, אבינו מלכנו, ותלמדם חוקי חיים, כן תכוננו תלמדנו,
Avinu Avarachamon Amrachem
רחם עלינו, ותן בליבנו להבין, להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות,
ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה.
והערננו
בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחל לבבינו לאהבה וירא את שמך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול
והנורא
בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ הוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו כי אל פועל ישועת אתה ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלה סלה באמת להודות
לך
וליחדך וליחדך יהבה.
ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר במו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל
אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד.
ואהבת
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך
מעבדיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך
ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושפך וקמך וקשרתן להיות על ידיך ויהיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. We continue on page 156. Individually in the Hebrew or the English, the top paragraph.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורתם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בטיל תפילת והיה לכם לציצית וראיתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם אחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם אותם והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם. לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים וכיסא נכון ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת ודבריו חיים וקיימים.
We're on page 157.
אמת שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו מלכנו מלך אבותינו גואלנו גואל אבותינו יוצרנו תור ישועתנו פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך אין אלוהים זולתך עזרת אבותינו
אתה ומעולם.
תהילה לעליון ברוך ומבורך משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך
באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדור בקודש נאורת תהילות עושי פלא.
שירה חדשה שבחו גלים לשמך שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו
Adonai Yimloch Elam. Please rise. We're on the bottom of page 158.
Tor
Yisrael, Kuma B'Ezrat Yisrael,
Uvtechenu Mecha
Yehuda v'Yisrael, Gal page 159, we join together with the Shabbat morning Amidah, the first 3 pages, then complete the Amidah individually.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanura, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot, U'mevii Goel Livnei Bneihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer V'Oked U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Uvoked Torah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh Metim Atarav Le'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayeh Metim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim B'Rafeh Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato, Mishenei Afar, Nichamoch Habal Keverot, U'Midon Melach, Melech Nemit, U'Mechayem, U'Matzmiach Yeshua, Ne'emanata L'Chayot Metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaMetim. Nekadesh Shimcha Ba'olam Kashem Shmakdishim Oto B'Shmei Marom, V'Katuv Haya Nevi'echa V'Kar Zeh Zeh Ve'amar. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech Haaretz Kevodo. Az Bekol Rash Gadol, Adir V'Chazak Mashmi'im Kol, Minasim L'Matrafim L'Umatam Baruch Yomeru. במקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון. תתגדל ותתגדל בתוך ירושלים עירך לדור ודור ונצח נצחים. ואין עינינו תראנה מלכותך כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי תכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו.
Amen. Yeshmei Rabbah Mevorach, V'olam Leomei Omaya, Yitbarach.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקדושה
Barichu.
לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה
Tushbechat Avanechem Ata.
ואמרו
Amen.
תתקבל צלתהון ובאותהון דכל ישראל קדם אבוהון דבשמיא ואמרו
Amen.
יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
Amen.
עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
Amen. As we begin the Torah service, I would ask those who are opening the ark and carrying the Torah, Stephen and Seth Weiser and David Rosson and Mark Mandel, along with the immediate family, to come up to the bima. And we will start on page 168.
אין כמוך באלוהים אדוני ואין כמעשיך
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לימותיין. אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אהבה רחמים, היטיב ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים. תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי לך לבד תעבדו, בלך רם ונישא, אדון עולמים. We rise as the ark is opened.
ויהי בנתו אהרון ויאמר משה קומה אדוני ויפוצו אויביך וינוסו משנאיך מפניך כי מציון תצא תורה
Please feel free to give a personal prayer before the open ark, either here or in your own heart.
Yerava Kadama Dativ Ta'li Beoraita Betashlim Mishari Delibi Beli Badechol Amach Yisrael Atam Luchai Velishon. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shema.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh
Gadol Adonai iti uneromem Hashemu yachdav.
Carrie just told me. Carrie gave me some sign. Great.
Adonai Eloheinu.
Please be seated.
We start the book of Vayikra today. We are on page 636 at the bottom, verse 11, chapter 11, verse 8. Sorry? Verse 1. Verse 1. Verse 1.
ויעזור ויגן ויושיע וחוסים בו ונאמר
אמן.
אמן הכל אבו גדול אני ותנו כבוד לתורה יעמוד חיה שרה בת מאיר מתישהו וגיטל ויעמוד חיים יוסף בן הרשל לעזר ושרה העלייה הראשון ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל לעמו ישראל בקדושתו
אתם מביאים עליכם חיים כולכם היום.
ואתם מביאים עליכם חיים כולכם היום
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam. Asher b'chavanu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe ve'el Aharon lemor alehem. Dabru el bnei Yisrael lemor. Zot hachaya asher tochlu mikol ha'bhema asher al haaretz. Kol mafreset parsa v'shosat shesa parsot. Ma'alat kera b'bhema ha'ota tochelu. Achetzel lo tochlu. Mimale hagera umimafrisei haparsa et hagamal kimale gera ufarsa enenu mafris tamehu lachem vet hashafan kimale gera ufarsa lo yafris tamehu lachem vet arnevet kimalat gerahu ufarsa lo hifrisa Tme'ah hilachem Betachazir kimafris parsahu Veshosa shesa parsa Vehu gera lo yigar Tamehu lachem Mibzaram lo tochelu Uvinivatam lo tiga'u Tme'im hem lachem
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nota b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Talmud Ramaka bat Rav Michol v'Talmud Nekosin men Yema bat Leafego v'Chaim Yitzor Aliyah Hasheni.
Our second aliyah this morning can be found on page 638, out the middle, chapter 11, verse 9.
Just kiss mine.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam. That's God. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chavanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Et tachlu mechol asher b'mayim kol asher lo sinaper v'kaskeset b'mayim bayamim uvanchalim oto tochelu v'chol asher ein lo sinaper v'kaskeset b'mayim uvanchalim mechol sheret hamayim umechol nefesh hachaya asher b'mayim sheket hu lachem Ohem lachem v'sheket yehu lachem mibisaram lo tochelu v'et nilatam tishaketzu kol asher ein lo sinaper v'chaskaseh b'mayim sheketu lachem. Get the tali. Kiss me where I am right there.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natu lanu Torah emet v'chayolam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Talmud Leah Rivka Bat Pinchas David, V'Yamod Binyamin Avraham Ben Chaim Yosef, Ha'aliyah Shlishit.
Third Aliyah this morning can be found on page 639 at the top, chapter 11, verse 13.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaBorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vet ela tishaksu min ha'ohof lo yechlu shekethem et hanesher v'et haperes v'et ha'azniyaha v'et hada'aha v'et ha'yalaminaha et kol orev leminaho v'et ba'at hayadnaha v'et hatachmas v'et hasha'achaf v'et hanetz leminehu v'et hakos v'et hashalach v'et hayanshuhuf ואת התנשמת ואת הקעת ואת הרחם ואת החסידה הנפל למנעה ואת הדוכיפת ואת העטלף.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Yamod Avram Tzvi Ben Yehuda Moshe Umeira Ha'aliyah Haravi'it.
The fourth Aliyah is still on page 639, chapter 11, verse 20.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaBorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. Kol sheret ha'ohov halech al arba'a sheket hu lachem. Ach et zeh tochluhu mikol sheret ha'ohov halech al arba'a asher lo kra'ayim mimal raglahav lenater bahen ala aretz. Et ele mehem tochelu et arbel leminoho vet hasalam leminehu vet hachargol leminehu vet hachagav leminehu v'chol sheret ha'ohov asher lo arba raglayim sheket hu lachem ule'ele titama'u kol hanogea b'nivletam yitmad arev v'chol hanosei b'nivletav Yechabes begadav v'tamei ad ha'arev l'chol habehema asher hi mafreset parsa v'shesa einena shosahat v'geira einena ma'alaha timeim hem lachem kol hanogea bahem yitmaha v'chol holech al kapav v'chol achaya lechet al arbat me'im heim lachem kol hanogea b'nivletam yitmad arev v'hanosei et nivletam yechabes begadav v'tamei ad ha'arev time'im heim lachem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Yamod Binyamin Matisyahu Ben Yonah Ha'aliyah Ha'chamishit.
The fifth Aliyah can be found on page 640, chapter 11, verse 29.
Baruch Adonai Baruch. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim v'nasan lanu es Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'zeh lachem hatamei b'asher tashoretz al ha'aretz v'cholet v'achbar v'tzav laminehu v'nakav v'koach v'halta'ah v'chomet v'antin shamet eleh tameim lachem b'kol hashoretz kol hanogei abahem v'motam yitma ta'arev v'kol asher yipol alav mehem v'motam yitma mikol kali eitz oveged or ozak kol kali asher yasem alacha bahem B'mayim yuva v'tamei ad ha'er v'taher.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nasan lanu Torah semes v'chayil lanu tabsochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Ya'amod Yaakov Yosef ben Binyamin Matisyahu v'ta'amod Margalit Yosifa bat Meir Chaim HaKohen Ha'aliyah HaShishit.
Sixth Aliyah can be found at the top of page 641, chapter 11, verse 33.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Where did you finish? Amen. V'chol koli cheretz asher yipol mehem el tocho kol asher b'tocho yitmaha v'yoto tishboru. Mikol ha'ochel asher ye'achel asher yavo alav mayim yitmaha v'chol mashkeh asher yishteh b'chol kli yitmaha v'chol mashkeh asher b'chol kli yitmaha v'chol asher yipol minivlatam alav yitmaha tanur v'chirayim yutot t'meim heim utmeim yiyu lachem ach mayan uvor mikveh mayim yiyeh tahor v'nogea b'nivlatam yitmaha v'chi yipol minivlatam al kol zera zerua asher yizareya tahor hu v'chi yutan mayim al zera v'nafal minivlatam alav tamehu lachem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chayil olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Ya'amod Yonah Eliezer ben Binyamin Matisyahu v'ta'amod Shulamit Rachel bat Chaim Yosef Ha'aliyah HaShvit.
The seventh Aliyah can be found on page 641, chapter 11, verse 39, at the bottom.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
וכי ימות מן הבהמה אשר היא לכם לאכלה הנוגע בנבלתה יטמא את הערב והאוכל מנבלתה יכבס בגדיו וטמא את הערב והנושא את נבלתה יכבס בגדיו וטמא את הערב וכל אשר תשרת על הארץ שקט הוא לא יאכל כל הולך על גחון וכל הולך על ארבע עד כל מרבה רגליים לכל אשר תשרת על הארץ לא תאכלום כי שקט הם אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל אשר תשרת ולא תטמאו בהם וטמאתם בם כי אני אדוני אלוהיכם והתקדשתם והייתם קדושים כי קדוש אני ולא תטמאו את נפשותיכם בכל אשר תרמש על הארץ כי אני אדוני המעלה אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים והייתם קדושים כי קדוש אני זאת תורת הבהמה והעוף וכל נפש החיה הרמשת במים ולכל נפש אשר אצל הארץ, להבדיל בין הטמא ובין הטהור, ובין החיה הנחלת ובין החיה אשר לא תאכל.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natav b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We'll pause at this moment in the Torah service. You have one more to go, Maya, but this is the first time that you have read Torah in our community. It's quite clear that this is the first of many, I hope. And we'll take this moment with your parents here. Noah, if you want to come up, you can too. Or not. To offer gratitude. Tremendous gratitude to all the people that are here, to God for allowing us to arrive at this moment. And so I'll invite everyone to join us in the Shechianu blessing as we offer that gratitude for arriving at this moment and being here at this particular moment in time. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. In just a moment, we'll rise for the lifting of the first Sefer Torah. We rise. Hold on one second.
Yamud. Shaul Asher ben Shalom Mordechai Hahagba Yamud Yechiel Uri ben Yona Eliezer Stilila.
Nezot HaTorah Asher Samoshe Lifnei Bnei Yisrael Adonai B'yad Moshe Ki Mitziyam Te'etzei Torah Bar Hashem Yerushalayim 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 Ki Mitziyam Te'etzei Torah Bar Hashem
We'll now do a prayer for the healing of those who are ill. As I scan the room, feel free to add any that you would like to. Misha Be'erach Avteinu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Yivarech v'Yirapeh et HaCholim. Ashkenazi, Ariel Barstein, Mark Bedelman, Ellen Beavers, Ricky Beavers, Lee Bradley, Vicky Bradley, Ellie Bressinger, Donna Brigham, Mickey Brown, Jennifer Buchanan, Terry Carb, Nathan Carlin, Sarah Carlin, Beverly Cassius, Charlotte DeFlumer, Edward Goldberg, Barbara Green, John Herrick, Marshall Jaffe, Nelson Jervis, Noreen Krasniger, Inbal Kricheli, Dan Lawrence, Mark San Lazar, Alvin Malkin, Maddie Marshall, Mark Matthias, Norma Mintz, Jody Moore, Larry Upton, Howard Sander, Judy Shaneberg, Darlene Shefsky, Brian Siskin, Lauren Spiegel, Sarah Whaley, Jennifer Woodward, Debbie Yingst, Aaron Ben Brona, Aliza Batrina, Baruch Ben Lazer, Chana Clara, Bat Yona, Chaya Bracha, Bat Zalman, Vester, Chaim Avigdor, Ben Yitzchak, Malka Bat Dora Bele, Moshe Ben Pesha, Rachaman Ben Sura, Rachel Bat Emmanuel, Emily, Sarah Miriam Bat Shendel, Shimshon Eliyahu, Yaakov David Ben Devora, Yehudit Penina Bat Brucha Varuch, Yisrael Eliyahu Ben Leah, Yona Bat Atasima, Velazar Yitzchak, Yonatan Ben Batya. Alehem lachazikam ולרפאותם, וישלח להם מהר הרפואה שלהם מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, בתוך שאר החולים, וחזק את ידי העוסקים בצורכיכם, שבת היא מלזעוק, ורפואה קרובה לבוא, השתבח עליו בזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. אל נא רפאנה לנו, אל נא רפאנה לנו, אל נא רפאנה לנו, רפואה שלמה. יקדל ויקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברך יותר וימליך מלכותי, בחייכונו ויומכו, ובחיים בכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בעגלה, ובזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם וישתבח ויפר ותמם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה ברכו ואלה מן כל ברכתה לשירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירם בעלמא ויאמרו
Amen. The special maftir for this Shabbat, Shabbat Parah, can be found on page 880 in your Humashim, page 880. Let's make sure you find this spot. It's marked. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Tamod, 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 Bachurat Bat HaMitzvah, Me'ira Yehudas, Bat Yona Eliezer, V'Sholomit Rachel, Maftirah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim. Ben atah lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah. V'daber Adonai el Moshe ve'el Aharon lemor. Zot chukat haTorah asher tiva Adonai lemor. Daber el bnei Israel. V'aychlu elecha parah aduma tmima. Asher en ba'amum asher lo ala aleha ol. Untatehem ota el Elazar hakohen. Ve'hotzi ota el michutz lemachaneh v'shafat ota lefanav. Ve'lakach Elazar hakohen midama be'etzba'o. Ve'hiza el nochach pnei ohel moed midama sheva pa'amim. Ve'saraf et hapara la'einav. Et Torah ve'bsarav et ama al pisha Yisrael. Ve'lakach hakohen et erez ve'ezov u'shnito lat. Ve'yishlich otel tzarfat hapara. Ve'chibes b'gadav hakohen. Ve'rachatz b'saro b'mayim ve'achar yavel el ha'machaneh. Ve'tameh hakohen ad ha'arev. Ve'asor efota yechabes b'gadav b'mayim ve'rachatz b'saro b'mayim ve'tameh ad ha'arev. Ve'asaf ish tahor et efer ha'para ve'hiniach michutz l'machaneh b'makom tahor. Ve'atal la'dat b'nei Yisrael l'mishmeret l'medidach hatati. Ve'chibes ha'osef et efer ha'para et b'gadav ve'tameh ad ha'arev והייתה לפני ישראל, ולגר הגר בזוכן לחוקת עולם, הנוגע באמת לכל נפש האדם וטמא 7 ימים. הוא התחטא בו ביום השלישי וביום השביעי טהר, ואם לא התחטא ביום השלישי וביום השביעי לא יטהר. כל הנוגע באמת בנפש האדם אשר ימות ולא יתחטא. את משכן אדוני טימא ונכרתה הנפש ההיא מישראל, כי מי נידה לא זרק עליו טמא יהיה עוד טומאתו בו. זאת התורה, אדם כי ימות באוהל, כל הבא האוהל וכל אשר באוהל יטמא 7 ימים. בכל כלי פתוח אשר אין תמיד פתיל עליו טמא הוא. בכל אשר ייגע על פני השדה, בכלל חרב או במת או בעצם אדם או בקבר יטמא 7 ימים. ולקחו לטמא מעפר שרפת החטאת, ונתן עליו מים חיים אל כלים. ולקח את זו וטבל במים, ישתהור והיזל האוהל ועל כל הכלים, ועל הנפשות אשר היו שם, ועל נוגע בעצם או בחלל או במת או בקבר. והיזל טהור על הטמא ביום השלישי וביום השביעי, וכיתו ביום השביעי, וכיבש בגדיו ורחץ המים וטהר בערב. והאיש אשר יטמא ולא יתחטא ונכרתה הנפש ההיא מתוך הקהל, כי את מקדש אדוני טימא. מי נידה לא זרק עליו טמא הוא, והייתה להם לחוקת עולם. ומה זה מהנידה יכבס בגדיו, והנוגע במי הנידה יטמא את הערב. בכל אשר ייגע בו הטמא יטמא, והנפש הנוגעת תטמא. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
It's good that you have a short one.
יעמוד חיים ליבל בן יעקב, תעמוד שרה נעמי בת בנימין אברהם ופגה רבקה, הגבה וגלילה. Please rise.
Lifting of the second sacred Torah.
Zot HaTorah asher Moshe v'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai ve'ad Moshe.
Ibdu et Hashem besimcha. Ibdu et Hashem besimcha. Bo lefanav b'yernana. Bo lefanav b'yernana. Bo lefanav b'yernana. Bo lefanav b'yernana. Ibdu et Hashem besimcha. Ibdu et Hashem besimcha. Bo lefanav b'yernana. Bo lefanav b'yernana. Bo lefanav b'yernana. Bo lefanav b'yernana.
Please be seated. Maya will now chant her Haftarah, which can be found in the large purple book, the Chumash, on page 1286, preceded by and followed by the Haftarah brachot page 175 in the Siddur.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nviim tovim, v'ratzav v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe avdo, u'v'Yisrael amo, u'v'nviei ha'emet b'tzedek. Vayehi devar Adonai elai lemor, ben Adam, Beit Yisrael yoshvim al admatam, vayitamu otav, bedarkam uva'alilotam, tumat hanida hayta darkam lefanai. Va'eshbo chamati alehem al hadam asher shafchu al haaretz, ukilu lehem timuha. Va'afit otam bagoim, vayizaru ba'aratot, kedarkam cha'alilotam shvatatim. Vayavo el hagoim asher ba'u sham, vaychalelu et shem kodshi, ve'emor lahem am Adonai ele, u'me'arto yatza'u, vayechmol al shem kodshi, asher chilalu beit Yisrael, v'gohim asher ba'u shama. Lachen emor leBeit Yisrael, ko amar Adonai Adonai, lo lema'anchem ani oseh Beit Yisrael, ki im Hashem kodshi asher chilaltem, v'gohim asher batem sham. V'kidashti et shmi hagadol, hamchulal b'gohim asher chilaltem b'tocham, v'yadu hagohim ki ani Adonai. Ne'um Adonai Adonai, v'hikadshi b'chem leinehem. ולקחתי אתכם מן הגויים, וקיבצתי אתכם מכל הארצות, והבאתי אתכם אל אדמתכם. וזרקתי עליכם מים טהורים, ותרתם מכל טומאותיכם, מכל גילוליכם, אטהר אתכם. ונתתי לכם לב חדש, ורוח חדשה אתן בקרבכם, והסירותי את לב האבן מבשרכם, ונתתי לכם לב בשר. את רוחי אתן בקרבכם, ועשיתי את אשר בחוקי תלכו, ומשפטי תשמרו ועשיתם. וישבתם בארץ אשר נתתי לאבותיכם, והייתם לי לעם, ואנוכי אהיה לכם לאלוהים. והושעתי אתכם מכל טומאותיכם, וקראתי אל הדגן והרביתי אותו, ולא אתן עליכם רעב. והרביתי את פרי העץ ותנובת השדה, למען אשר לא תאכלו עוד חרפת רעב בגויים. וזכרתם את דרכיכם הרעים, ומעלליכם אשר לא טובים, ונקוטותם בפניכם על עוונותיכם ועל תועבותיכם. לא למענכם אני עושה. נאום אדוני אדוני יוודע לכם, בושו והיקלמו מדרכיכם בית ישראל. כה אמר אדוני אדוני, ביום טהרי אתכם מכל עוונותיכם, והושבתי את הערים ונבנו חרבות, והארץ הנשמה תאבד, תחת אשר הייתה שממה לעיני כל עובר. ואמרו, הארץ עלזו הנשמה הייתה כגן עדן, והערים החרבות, הנשמות והנהרסות בטירות ישבו. וידעו הגויים אשר ישרו סביבותיכם כי אני אדוני. בניתי הנהרסות, נתתי הנשמה, אני אדוני, דיברתי ועשיתי. כה אמר אדוני אדוני, עוד זאת יידרש לבית ישראל לעשות להם, הרבה אותם כצאן אדם, כצאן קדשים, כצאן ירושלים במאודיה, כן תהיינה הערים החרבות, מלאות צאן אדם, וידעו כי אני אדוני. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tor kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'chol hadarot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, homer v'yoseh, hamdaber umkayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu, v'ne'emanim devarecha, v'devarecha midvarecha, achor lo yashuv rekam, ki melech ne'eman v'rachaman atah, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ne'eman b'chol devarav. Rachem al Tzion ki beit chayenu, ve'la'aluvat nefesh toshia, v'imhera v'yameinu, Baruch atah Adonai, mesameach Tzion bevaneha. Samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu, Eliyahu hanavi avdecha, uv'malchut beit David Mashichecha, b'imhera yavo v'yagel libeinu, al kiso lo yeshev zar ve'lo inchalu od achirim et kevodo, ki v'shem kodecha nishbat lo, shelo yichben ero le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen David. Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, l'kedusha l'menucha, lechavod l'tifaret. Al ha'kol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach u'mbarchim otach, yitbarach shemcha b'fi kol chai, tamid le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha'shabbat.
We'd like to ask you not to unwrap any candy during the next few minutes or applaud after. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to announce that Maya will now offer some words of Torah.
Before I start my Devar Torah, I want to say thank you to the people that made this day special. I want to thank Rabbi Sarit for helping me write my Devar Torah for today. I'm so glad that you're able to be here. Thank you so much to Alan Israel for helping to facilitate services. Morris Sharabi, thank you so much for helping me write my Friday night dinner speech. We have been writing Devar Torahs together since first grade. Thank you to Rose Ross for helping me prepare for leading the service today. I enjoyed our lesson every week and appreciate everything you did to make today even more special. And thank you so much to all my friends and family, those who live here and those from out of town, who came to support me and be with me today. Grandma and Grandpa, thank you so much for coming to celebrate my bat mitzvah with me. I always appreciate and enjoy our FaceTime calls and when you come to Memphis to celebrate my birthday with me every year. I cannot wait to go to Aruba with you later this summer. Grandma, my favorite memory of us is when I was really little and went swimming in your pool in pajamas. Grandpa, I can always count on you for a trip to Gibson's and to make me laugh. Bubby and Zadie, I love living so close to you and getting to see you almost all the time. Bubby, I always enjoy getting to go on shopping sprees with you. Thank you for making that TikTok with me. He stole the show. Zadie, thank you so much for helping me with my Hebrew homework over the years. I really appreciate all the time we spent together. Noah, thank you so much for being a wonderful brother. I always enjoy everything we do together, whether that's playing video games or just hanging out. I can always count on you to cheer me up and make me laugh. You are always the most hilarious one in the room, even when you aren't trying to be. Mom and Dad, thank you for showing me the values of a strong Jewish life. Dad, thank you so much for teaching me my Haftarah and Torah portions for today. It would not be as special without getting to learn and prepare for my bat mitzvah without you. We have the same Hebrew birthday, and my original bat mitzvah date would have been the same Torah portion that you had for your bar mitzvah. Even though we were not able to have the same Torah portion, it was just as special. I always enjoy getting to talk about what we loved about going to Camp Sabra. It is so cool that you still remember all the cheers from camp, even the girls' cheers. Mom, the past 2 years have been very difficult, and I would not have gone through it without you. I really enjoyed going shopping for all my dresses and shoes for this weekend. One of my favorite memories of something we do together is going to open houses, or as you named it, house hunters in real life. Thank you so much for always supporting me in everything that I do, being there for me when I needed it most, and making me laugh, whether you meant it as a joke or not. In this week's parsha, we learned about the distinguishing between pure versus impure, and holy versus mundane. For you must distinguish between the sacred and the profane, and between the impure and the pure. This verse tells us that we should have the distinction between pure versus impure. In the verse before that, it adds, "This is a law for all time throughout the ages." This refers to the Torah times with the Mishkan, but then adds all throughout the ages. This tells us that it is referring to times in the future. Now we look at this differently because we don't have the Mishkan anymore. This law is not something we can just forget about because it is no longer something we can do. Although we might do it differently, we can still fulfill it. Throughout the parsha, we get examples of the distinction between pure versus impure. Aaron's sons bring an alien fire, or an impure fire, to the Mishkan. We also learned about the rules of kashrut and what is pure or impure to eat. Something being pure or impure can be something we do, like bringing something impure to the Mishkan, or something we eat, whether it is allowed or not. Holiness is not good or bad, it's different. Without a different routine for a day in our lives, it would feel boring. However, now it feels holy, meaning that something good is not necessarily holy. Something normal, like Shabbat every week, is holy because it is different. There's a Mishnah that teaches us about the separation between good and bad and relates back to this week's parsha. It says, "A person is obligated to bless upon the bad just as they bless upon the good." I think this means that we should look at the bad things the same way that we look at the good things. Every situation has good and bad. It just depends on how you look at it. This relates back to this week's parsha because it tells us the rules for sacrifices and what is pure versus impure. The parsha talks mostly about the sacrifice, but the general idea is the same about looking at the pure or the impure. Just like how pure versus impure in the Torah does not necessarily mean that something is positive or negative. The Mishnah and the Torah both give different opportunities to connect with God. We can connect with God whether we are in a good or pure situation or a bad or impure situation. Just because we might be at a time or place that doesn't feel holy doesn't mean that we shouldn't still connect with God. Another thing we learned from the parsha is that you can make sacrifices for being thankful, or if you sin or do something wrong. God can be in both of those moments, the holy and the mundane, the regular and the special. And also with Shabbat and the rest of the week, there are different ways to connect to God in all those situations. Like in a good time, you might be thanking God, or in a hard time, you may be asking God to get you out of that situation. They are separate, but not one better than the other. It can be hard when you're in a tough situation to see any good in it. If I get a bad grade on a test, I think about how it will negatively affect my grade, and I don't think about how I may be able to relearn it so I can take the retake. Bringing holiness into our lives could come in many different ways. This could be as simple as being kind to people or wearing white on Yom Kippur. During the time of the Torah, holiness was brought by giving sacrifices. Bringing holiness to our lives doesn't have to be a big, huge event, but it can be going out of your way and doing something nice for others. Distinguishing the holy and regular can help benefit our lives in many ways. For example, Shabbat is considered holy. In the prayer on Havdalah, it says, "Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol." This prayer means distinguishing between holy and regular. Separation is something that we need in our lives. The word kadosh, which means holy, also has a meaning about separateness. This could mean that separation is holy. Having that one special holy day gives us a break from the regular routine. That break gives us a day to be less stressed after a long week and puts us in a better mindset for the coming week. This separation between days makes one holy, but doesn't make it better. Just because your week was normal and followed the same routine doesn't make it necessarily bad. A day like Shabbat, which is holy, has more meaning than just being good. Shabbat might seem like something that we want all the time, but would it really be that great? Shabbat is meant to be special. If you have something all the time, it loses its holiness or specialness. We need the feeling of specialness or holiness in our lives. We take for granted the feeling of something being holy. Having holy things gives us something to look forward to. We look forward to Shabbat once a week because it makes us feel holy, and is not the same routine as every other day. Not everything can be holy, or nothing is holy. The holy things lose their specialness if everything is holy. There are a few important lessons I take away from this teaching. The first is that there are different ways to look at a situation. You may be looking at the same thing, but there are different points of view. The Parsha reminds us that we can evaluate things in different ways. The second lesson is that we might think that there are only certain times that they can connect with God, but in all times, you can connect with God. Sometimes in a bad situation, we think that there is no way to connect with God because it might be considered impure. However, even in a bad situation, we are still able to connect with God. The final lesson I took away from this teaching is using Shabbat as an example, thinking about separateness. We can be intentional about making something separate for it to be special. If we want something to be holy, you have to treat it differently. You have to treat it in a way that's separate from something else. We have to put effort into something in order to make it holy. I think all three of these lessons relate to my bat mitzvah. Everything can be seen as good or bad. For some people, they only have a bar or bat mitzvah because their parents want them to, and they feel forced. It's not valuable to them, and it doesn't have meaning. For me, my bat mitzvah is a moment of recognizing the value of my religion and what I've learned about it. What I learned for today actually relates to the rest of my life and how I am in the Jewish community. My bat mitzvah is today, and I can connect with God today, but I know that I can connect with God any day. I know that today feels especially holy to me because it is separate, but I also know that I have been given the skills and tools to connect with God on any day, not just today. And finally, having to put effort if we want something to feel separate and holy. Every other Shabbat we could come to shul because it's part of our routine, but on those days I don't have to put in as much effort. In order for today to feel holy and separate and special, I had to put in more preparation into understanding the value of what I'm doing. I hope that everybody can find a time that's holy and connect with God, even when it may not be what we'd expect to be holy. We can make any moment feel holy by separating it and trying to connect with God. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yasher Koach, Maya. I want to take this opportunity to offer you a bracha. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless Maya. Me'ira Yehudas bat Yona Eliezer v'Shulamit Rachel, who has come forward this day to the reading of the Torah in recognition of her desire to live a worthy Jewish life. Maya, of the many beautiful and important lessons that you just shared with us, one of them strikes me as particularly relevant to you and what we can all learn from who you are as a person. When the Torah offers the distinction between pure and impure, you've reminded us that neither is good or bad, and that God is present in every state that we exist in as human beings. And if that's the case, then every opportunity is a time when God is accessible to us. Even before the time that we started working together, Maya, it was evident that you are a spiritual individual who connects with God and feels a sense of divine presence in your life. I hope you remember that wherever you go, whatever you do, and whatever state you find yourself in, you have the capacity as a unique and special human being to find God. You have shown that your connection to our tradition isn't just one of circumstance, when you happen to be in a Jewish day school or when you happen to do Jewish things. Your commitment to going above and beyond for your bat mitzvah training, your involvement in our teen Talmud program, and your enthusiasm about your Judaism shows genuine. An example this can be about. And just as you have demonstrated that you're able to find God, I also believe God will be able to find you. Because Maya, you are powerful and you look at others. It's impossible to notice a gentle soul meeting you. But I also know that you are tough and brave, that you are willing to try new things even when they may be hard. Maya, this combination of traits is so powerful, and I hope that you always live with this balance, the kind and the tough, the gentle and the brave. When this is true, when you are true to yourself in all the ways that I have seen, I know that any moment with you can be holy. Even as you said, in the moments where you may least expect it. Know that because of who you are, because of what you do with your life, every moment can be a holy one. May God continue to be with you and in the life that lies before you, just as God has been with you from the day of your birth until now. May it be God's will that you continue to grow in body and spirit, in wisdom and humility, in the love of all creatures, in faithfulness and courage, surrounded by your beloved family. And may you always be regarded as gracious and wise in the eyes of God and all humanity. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Mazel tov. You can take a seat for a second. We'll turn to page 178. I'll invite up Maya's friends from Camp Sabra, who will lead us responsively in a prayer for peace. On the left-hand side of the page in the English, page 178. So you can see it. Y'all are leading us here. You can read here. You'll read this. We read this. You'll read this. Go for it. Right here.
May we see the day when war and bloodshed cease, when a great peace will embrace the whole world. The nation. For all who live on earth shall realize we have not come into being to hate or to destroy. We have come into being to praise, to labor, and to love. Fulfill the promise conveyed in Scripture. I will bring peace to the land, and you shall lie down, and no one shall terrify you. Let justice and righteousness flow like a mighty stream. Let God's peace fill the earth as the waters fill the sea. And let us say, Amen.
We'll turn to page 180. We'll rise for Birkat HaChodesh, the announcing of the new month. Next Shabbat is Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And so today we announce that month is coming. I'll invite you to join me in the English on the left-hand side of the page on 180. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, grant that this coming month bring us goodness and blessing, bestow on us long life, a life with proper sustenance, a life with physical vitality, a life conscious of heaven's demands and wary of sin, a life free of shame and reproach, a life of abundance and honor, a life of love of Torah, conscious of heaven's demands, a life in which the worthy desires of our hearts are fulfilled. Amen. Mi she'asa nisim la'avoteinu, mi she'asa nisim le'imoteinu, v'ga'al otam me'avdut lechairut, hu yigal otanu bekarov, v'kabetz midachenu me'arba kanfot ha'aretz, chaverim kol Yisrael, v'nomar Amen. Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Yeh b'yom Shabbat Kodesh, haba aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael l'tova. Yechadeshei HaKadosh Baruch Hu aleinu ve'al kol amo beit Yisrael l'chaim u'shalom l'sason u'simcha l'yeshua u'nechama v'nomar Amen. Goes down for just a second. We'll turn to Ashrei, page 181. You can be seated.
Ashrei yoshvei v'techa od yahalucha salak.
Ashrei am shekafalo, Ashrei am shadonai Eloho.
Tehillah LeDavid. Tehillat Adonai Yadaber Pi, Vayvarech Kol Basar Shem Kodsho Le'olam Va'ed.
Anachnu nevarech Yah Adoram Hallelujah. I ask Alana Weiser, Eric Weiser, come open the ark, and Nurit Zuckman Gast and Lindsay Rossen to carry the Torah.
We'll rise, page 183.
Yeah, hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki Nizkav Shem Olevado. Mizmor LeDavid, Havu Adonai Pnei, Havu Adonai Kavod, Havu Adonai Kavod Shema, Ishtachavu Adonai Bet Kodesh, Kol Adonai Al Hamayim, El Kavod Yirim Adonai Al Mayim Rabim. Kol Adonai b'Koach, Kol Adonai b'Hadar, Kol Adonai shover harazim, v'yashaber Adonai et arzei Lebanon, v'yarkidem kemo Egel, Lebanon v'Sirion kemo ven Remim. Adonai chotzef lavot esh, Adonai yachir midbar, yachir Adonai midbar kadesh, kol Adonai yecholel hayolot. V'yechasof yeraot, u'hechalo kulo omer kavod, Adonai lamavuya. Lama chazikila vetom cheya neusha teracheyam darcheyam kol netivoteya shalom hashivenu
Standing and continue with the Fatsi Kaddish on page 184.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
B'alma divrach v'yirteh v'yichmachoteh
V'chayechon v'yomechon
uv'chayetecho beit Yisrael. Ba'akala uv'izman kariv v'yimeru.
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach v'yolam yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitcherman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata amiran v'yama. Amen. On page 185, we continue with the Musaf, Amidah, together, the first 3 pages, and then individually.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei HaKol, Bezocher Chasdei Avot, Umevi Goel Livnei Vneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Mashiach. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ufoked Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Metim Atarav Lehoshia. Mashiv Haruach Umorid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim. Lech Noflim Verofech Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Kevurot, Uminto Melach, Melech Memit Umechayem, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Nemanata Lechayom Etim, Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh HaMetim. Na'aritzecha v'nakdishcha, kesod tziach, sarfei kodesh. Hamakdishim shimcha b'kodesh, kakatuv al yad neviyecha, bekara zel zeveah. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech Haaretz, Kevodo, Kevodo Malei Olam, Meshartav Sholim Zeh Lazeh, Hayeh Mekom Kevodo, Leumatam, Baruch Yomeru. Baruch Kevod Adonai, Mimkomo, Mimkomo, Uyifen Berachamim, Ve'yachonam, Hamyachadim Shemo, Erev Vavoker, Bechol Yom Tamid, B'mayim Be'ahava, Shem Omrim. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu, Vehu Yishmaenu Barachamav Sheni Tleinei Kol Chai, Lihiyot Lachem Le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Uvdivrei Kodechecha Katuv Le'mor. Imloch Adonai le'olam melech tziyom ledor vador, hallelujah. Ledor vador nagid golecha, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha nakdish. V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush le'olam va'ed, ki el melech gadol v'kadosh atah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el.
Those of you who are not complete with the Amidah, continue at your own pace. We turn to page 203 for the Kaddish Shalem.
Yikadal v'yikadash merabah.
Amen.
V'almad yivrach l'rotei v'yamlich machlotei b'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayedach Beit Yisrael b'agala u'bizman kari v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam v'olam me'omayah. Yitbarach v'yitabach v'yines v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalach shmei l'kudashah Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tishbechata v'nechamata V'yimeru Titkabal tzotahon uvotahon dechol Yisrael kadam avuhon di b'shmaya v'imru
Amen.
Yehi shlomo rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'imru Oseh shalom b'imromav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'yimeru
Amen. Ein Keloheinu, page 204.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoshenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mikeloheinu, Mikadoshenu, Mikemalkeinu, Mikemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shektiru, Torah
Aleinu, please rise, page 205.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'tzek v'zula l'yoter b'reshit shelo asanu k'kodei harato v'lo samanu mishpachot ha'adama shelo samchotenu kaim v'golenu k'chol hamenu Nachnu korim v'mishpachadinu motim B'nei melech mochem HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shemunot hashamayim v'yasherot U'moshav yekaro b'shamayim v'nahal U'shrinatu zo V'gavren Elohim U'Eloheinu Eino Emin Malkeinu V'fesulato Yom ve'ashem Kakatu v'atecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai melech al kol ha'aretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo
Please be seated. This coming week, we observe the yortzites of Philip Lipman, Helen Siegel, Henry Liebson, Jacob Cohen, Bert Baker, and Sadie Heller. Will those observing Yortzeit or who are saying Kaddish please rise? Mourner's Kaddish is on page 207. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah Ve'oma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chal beit Yisrael ba'agalah u'vizman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shabei dekudusha b'riachu li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran v'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabbah min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Please be seated. I now call upon Ariel Figueroa, who has a presentation from us.
That was amazing. I actually have here a Devar Torah that Maya wrote I got it in an email to proofread from Maya Sharabi on December 11, 2019. And I remember reading this and being so blown away and telling you in the library at Born Bloom how amazing it was. And one of the questions you had was, one of the questions I had to ask was, how come Esav forgives Yaakov? So this was in Vayishlach. And what happened to Esav that made him forgive Yaakov? And your thoughts were that you think it was because of Yaakov's integrity. And everything he did in this meeting was with integrity. And I have known you for quite a few years, and I also love your mom, so I hear all about you from her. And we had book club together, and all of your insights into the characters that we were reading about, the theme that I think back on is integrity. And you have shown so much integrity, because when integrity is having like a moral upstanderness and just having a pure way of doing things, and you do that, even if the rest of the crowd is not, you do what you feel is right. And it's interesting, we've come full circle, because in this parsha there were two people that did not act with integrity, but I think that, I hope that you always have integrity, because you're awesome, and integrity is awesome to have. And on behalf of the sisterhood and the shul, there's a chumash in here and a kiddush cup, and mazel tov and yasher tov.
I will now call on Maya's parents, Stephanie and Jeremy, to the pulpit to speak to Maya.
Mazel tov. I can't believe we're finally here. You've worked so hard, and I hope you're as proud of yourself as we are of you. When you were born, you came out screaming so loudly that the labor and delivery nurse commented on your healthy lungs. You grew into a little tiny toddler with a big, giant personality. When you were in the toddler daycare room at the Delaware JCC, you used to remind all the other kids to take off their shoes before going onto the carpet and not to touch the light switch. One year, they had to move your nap spot to behind the bookcase because you wouldn't stop talking while the other kids tried to nap. You were never big on napping and always big on talking. I don't like to miss anything either. Since then, you've become a passionate, strong-willed, smart, and beautiful young adult. Wise beyond your years, you're one of a kind. When you were a baby, I'd look at your sweet little face, and I'd pray that you'd become a person with a truly good soul, who would love deeply and who would be proud to be Jewish. It's pretty amazing that all my prayers have been answered. It's no secret that sometimes we butt heads, and I think it's because we're more alike than you would like to admit. But overall, we have a really good relationship. I know you think sometimes I tell you things that are TMI, But I hope you realize that you can never give me too much information. There's nothing you could ever share with me that would be too much. I hope you know that whatever you need in life, and however Dad and I can help you get there, it's always a possibility and it's never too much information. You are a force to be reckoned with. You may never be the biggest person physically in the room, but when it matters, be the biggest voice. Even when it's not the most popular voice, stand up for yourself and for what's right. We sent you and Noah to Bornblum Jewish Community School so we could build on the strong Jewish foundation we give you at home. It's the place where you honed what it means to be a proud and knowledgeable Jew. It's at Bornblum, well, JCC preschool really, where you made wonderful lifelong friends who we've had the joy of watching grow up with you. And you built truly special relationships with teachers that I hope you'll have for life. As you continue to go out there in the world on your own, remember that you can do hard things. Even when you think you can't, know that we know you can. And you have proof. When you were going into 4th grade, you went to Camp Sabra for the first time, not knowing a single other girl in your bunk. And today, Camp Sabra is your happy place, and your camp friends are treasures in your life. It took so much courage to walk into that bunk on your own. And then you did it again at the beginning of this school year. We made the huge decision that you'd start 7th grade at Riverdale. Leaving our comfort zone was scary. But look at what you've built for yourself in just a few short months. You've made some really great friends there and integrated yourself into the school community so fast that your history teacher thought you had been at Riverdale since kindergarten. Some of my favorite times with you are not the big moments, but the seemingly small ones, like our Starbucks coffee dates or watching Say Yes to the Dress together. We love watching the amazing sister that you are to Noah. Even before he was born, you have loved your brother fiercely. Sure, you bicker, but you love each other and it shows. You two are a team, and he is so lucky to have you in his corner. You take care of him, and he does the same for you in his own hilarious way. I hope you continue to chase all the things you want in life, but sometimes you will fail, and that's okay. It's okay to fall because that's how we learn. Sometimes you'll pick yourself up on your own, but if you can't, know that Dad and I will always be here to help you up. But most of all, my wish for you is that you'll always be and always do what makes you truly happy. I love you with all my heart and soul, and thank you for sticking to the promise you made to me when you were 4 and still cuddling with me even now that you are a teenager. Mazel tov, we love you.
One page. Maya, I have you right where I want you. You are here in front of everyone, needing to be on your best behavior, so you can't do anything about what I'm about to say and do. Just wait for it. You are an amazing daughter, sister, and now young woman. You are caring, outgoing, smart, that you get from your mother, determined, and stubborn. I still remember peeking into your classroom at the JCC in Delaware, trying to see how the teachers could get you to eat. And as soon as you saw me peeking in, you clamped your lips together, even for your teachers, until the moment I left. Mom and I couldn't get you to eat back then, and even now, every meal is an adventure. Watching you grow up and being there every step of the way has been amazing. Your first birthday, your first steps, you were in no rush. Even your first words, you were in a rush for that. By the way, the other day we were trying to remember funny ways you mispronounced words when we forgot about the time you were walking our dog Ellie with Bubby and Zadie when you were 2 or 3 and kept yelling, "Ellie, peel!" For everyone here, that was supposed to be heel so she would stop pulling on the leash. We always talk about how much you and Mommy are mirror images of each other, but I do have to say, our paths are pretty similar. Moved to Memphis from the East Coast, JCC early childhood, child of a JCC staff member, Jewish day school, I even went to Bornblum for 2 years, Camp Sabra, Rocky Mount, Missouri, 65072. Except I got to do the hairy-chested men cheer, which I will perform later. And learning for our Torah and Haftarah portions from our own father. Learning for your bat mitzvah was certainly a lot of work, and yet somehow you made it look easy. This past year has been great getting to teach you for today and spend that time with you. Just remember, you may have won the bet we made to get you to finish bat mitzvah preparation, but really I won because of the amazing job you did today. I can't wait to see what your future holds. Mazel tov.
Beautiful words, Jeremy and Stephanie. Thank you. Mazel tov to the Wisers. It's really good to be here today. You're allowed to laugh. It's okay. Most of you know that I've spent the last 9 weeks on bed rest, 7 of those weeks in the hospital. And there are 2 things that I want to share this morning. One is tremendous gratitude to this community who has supported me and my family throughout this time and lifted us up in something that was totally unimaginable. And the second is that when my doctors told me yesterday that I was released from bed rest, this is the place where I wanted to be. When I was on bed rest, Shabbatot were by far the hardest time because I was away from my family at home and I was away from this family here. And it was especially hard for the 4 Benot Mitzvah that I missed, that I wasn't able to be present for. And so I knew that if there was a possibility to be here, that I wanted to make it happen. We also knew that it was going to end up being a game time call. I don't know that I will be here next week, but I'm really, really grateful to be able to be here today, to be with all of you, to be able to share in this simcha with your family, and to be with another one of my families. So thank you for everything that you've done for us the past 2 months. And they tell me that there's more to come. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to invite up Alyssa to make a few announcements.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Mazel Tov, Maya did an amazing job. That was fantastic. This Tuesday night, we have one of our Lair House speaker series with Dr. Erica Kay. We've got challenges of infertility and adoption in a Jewish home. On next Sunday, April 3rd, we have In Search of Israeli Cuisine. If you would like to order a dinner, please do it online by Monday. Friday, April 8th, we have a camp-style Shabbat. It's a Kabbalat Shabbat and dinner. Sign up online or by calling the office. And then on Tuesday, April 5th, sorry I did that backwards, we have a program for high school seniors confronting anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism on college campuses. That's for the whole Jewish community. Contact Miriam for details about that. Next Shabbat, we have a special Shabbat honoring Myra Alpern. I hope you'll be here next Shabbat to join us for that. If you need a Seder or if you can host someone at your Seder, please contact the office so we can make a match. And finally, we've got right after Kiddush lunch, we've got mystical readings on the Parsha in the boardroom. And this week we have 2 anniversaries, Steve and Michelle Abramowitz and Susan and Fred Lefko. We've got a bunch of birthdays this week. Darlene Shevsky, Judy Felsenthal, Bradley Cohen, Sheila Greenberg, Daniel Marcus, Avery and Olivia Solari, Adam Miller, Keith Becker, David Becker, Elise Jordan, Joey Nodowich, Barry Shulkin, David Rifkin, and David and Shoshana Rifkin-Lerner, and David Dreyfus.
Where is Noah? We conclude with the Don Olam, and I think Noah will let his sister participate with him. What page? 155. Nope. 211. Page 211.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Teriko Yitzir Nivra V'Nasa V'Chetz Tzorko Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'Acharei Kiflot HaKol Levato
Kiddush. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו סברי ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן
Shabbat Shalom, Mazal Tov, Mazal Tov. Nice to see you.
he needs to fidget. This was hard for him. And to tuck in the shirt. It was hard. Yay! Thank you so much. And I missed you. I'm like done. I want to do all the things.
Okay. Good. All right. There are things then.
I did love it. You're staying for a little bit.
I thought you wanted to come to my house to play with me. You don't want to hang around with me?
Play with Lavi? Let's go find Lavi.
They don't want to come to my house to play with me.
You want to go?
Hi. Thanks, baby. I feel good.
I've been looking for
But it's actually like such a it was like the first time. Because I was like, I was like excited for Maya, and like thinking about other things, as opposed to like things.
It is this.
Oh, yes.
Live.
Hi. See you. What's up? How are you? Good. That picture that Jason posted, look, it was like spinning. I was like, I cannot look at this. It's me. From yeah, exactly.
Okay, Mazel.
Nice to see you guys. Nice to meet you.